Hello, hello. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be, wherever you are. Today is Tuesday, August 4th. I want to say hello to everybody who is watching live. It's great to see so many people here already posting up in the chat where they're watching from. Thank you so much. Welcome back to Rachel, Christine, Jennifer in rainy upstate New York. The Master Gaster, always with us. Columbia, South Carolina. And I think I saw is Corrine here as well. How are you guys doing with the hurricane? I hope everybody is staying safe. It's hard to keep up these days with all of the, I was going to say national disasters, but natural disasters, that's the word, not national, but I guess it is, national as well. Natural disasters and man-made disasters, all of the things that have happened, from week to week. But I hope you're all staying safe as much as possible and taking care. We are also broadcasting on Facebook and Periscope, so hello to people there. If you don't see the comments from YouTube, it's because you're watching somewhere else. And if you are watching later, that's cool, because we have a whole group of people that joins me live for this interactive conversation. That's what it is, by the way. But then other people who kind of come and catch the replay. So I try as much as possible to have this balance or this blend of that interactive conversation where you can contribute in the chat. I'll kind of go back and forth and refer to it. I have a question of the day for you. I have a daily challenge, some other things I will share, but then also just hopefully something that's timeless, and still relevant if you're watching this later. All right, just taking a quick peek at everybody else who's here. Hey, Marvin Joe, you guys are doing well is it Bangkok still? Mary Jo, Twin Cities, Minnesota. Hey, Graham, what's up? Welcome back. Graham on Facebook there. Stephanie said, outside of Baltimore, just survived the storm. Luckily, no power outages. Okay, I know it's still going up the coast to New England, I believe, today. So hope everybody is taking care. As mentioned, Master Gaster, this has been a crazy year. That's right. This is a year like no other. Okay. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We've got a question. I've got some websites to show you. I have a question of the day for you. I have an audio question that somebody sent in. And if we have not met before, by the way, if this is your first time, welcome. Feel free to post up and say it's your first time. That'd be cool. I'll give you a special welcome if I see it. So originally, this was based on my new book, The Money Tree, Finding the Fortune in Your Own Backyard, a story of finding the fortune in your own backyard. And it's kind of evolved a bit into, as I said, this experience where I'm trying to share something about financial security, about creating your own security so that you have options, in a difficult time, in a time of uncertainty, which is what we are still going through. Like we started having this conversation in one form or another in March, but there's still a lot of uncertainty in the world. And even if the world were perfectly fine, which, it's never perfectly fine, but even if it wasn't the year that will be forever known as WTF 2020, even if we weren't in that time, there still is not security or confidence or, stability in depending on an employer and depending on a corporation for your, well-being, your income, et cetera. So all of my work is about self-reliance one way or another. All of my work is about helping people to create something for themselves so they can do more of what's important to them. And key point, what's important to you might be different than what's important to me or anybody else who's watching. So I'm not really in the business of telling people what to do. It's more about hopefully helping people understand that there is more than one way, and there is something that you can do. Even if you have never thought of yourself as an entrepreneur, there is a project that you can start. It's all about tapping into the skills that you already have. So that's what we'll look at in different ways here today as we get started. And by the way, I don't see all the chat messages just because there's a lot of stuff happening for me here. But I always go back at the end after the broadcast and read everything. It kind of informs what I do next. So thank you for that. If you could hit the thumbs up button, by the way, that would be super awesome. Hit the thumbs up button, say you like the video, and subscribe. Then click the little bell in YouTube to get notifications. What did I want to mention as we were getting going here? So I've been doing these meetings every other Thursday. Meetings of the Third Way, which is a group based on the Money Tree. Our next meeting will be not this Thursday, but the following Thursday. You are welcome to join. I think I might even have a slide that tells you how to do that. So this is a Zoom meeting, so it's also interactive, but we have people on video, and we're specifically talking through your project. So we're specifically getting advice, helping you overcome challenges. It's free. You can sign up there at that link right there. Back over here. Great. Let us jump into the question of the day as I get a couple of other things ready. So I'm going to give you this and you can post some answers. I'm actually very curious about this. I can't believe I've never asked this before on these streams. What was your very first money-making project? Okay. And even if I'm betting that you have something, I bet everybody has an answer to this, even if you've never had like a proper side hustle or a small business. Did you do something as a kid to make money, or as a teenager, or, whatever? There's something that you did, I bet. So I'd be curious what your answer is. Feel free to post that up if you're willing to share. I will pick somebody, hopefully someone I haven't picked before, and I will send you a free copy of the book. If you already have the book, thank you. That's great. I hope it's helpful. You can then give that copy to someone else. So you can post your answers there. I will share a couple of other things, and then we will come back to that. Let's see. What did I want to mention? Let's see here. If you already have a side hustle, by the way, if you've not been featured on the podcast, there is a link, sidehustleschool.com/survey, side hustle survey. And if you know somebody, we're looking for nominations always, since the program is every day, to feature other people and highlight them to a very large active community. Feel free to send them to that. Let's see, was there anything else here? Oh, ideas. That's a previous broadcast. We talked about different ideas, but there's still a free PDF at that link. Oh, and then last but not least on this, we have a Facebook group for anyone who's interested. I'm not super active on Facebook myself, but I know some people are. Obviously, like a lot of other people connect that way. So we have a group for people who are interested, and several folks here actually are posting regularly. So thank you for doing that, by the way, if you're doing that. So feel free to join. All that stuff, of course, is free. Okay, so I've got some websites to show you, but I see lots of comments coming in already. So let's see here. Just scroll back because so much here. Oh, Valerie, welcome. First time here from Southern California. Awesome. And Amina from Algeria as well. Several folks from India. Eric from Kenya. What's up, man? He's here every week. That's awesome. Chris Bishop, first time here. What's up? Welcome. Bashir, welcome. All right. Kuala Lumpur. Okay. Sorry, I get distracted because I want to say hi to everybody. All right. So first hustle was reselling books. I think we actually talked about that on a previous broadcast. That's cool. One of my first side hustles, which I'll share in a moment, was also about reselling books. Vin says shoveling snow. Okay. Word association, typing service. Different Rachel. I wrote essays for people in high school as my side hustle. I was good enough to knock out 6 a day. That's great. I cannot write 6 essays a day, so I should hire you to write my essays for me. And Jennifer, hi, good to see you. Cozy Stone Home. I sold Christmas wrapping paper door to door to raise money for my school choir. I forgot about that. I did do some door to door stuff, actually, when I was I don't know, a kid, a teenager or something. And then Graham says his first money-making scheme, selling chess sets online. That first $8 order, $7.99, forever stays in my memory. I was speechless. Guys, this is great because, pay attention to this. If you have not sold anything before, I see this pattern over and over and over of that first time that I have sold something. It brings me, such joy. It's disproportionate to the amount of money that's involved. And that's why it's so important to get to that point quickly, rather than spending a long time, thinking through different ideas and writing a business plan and all that stuff. I mean, planning is important, but I think action is more important. So I always try to have a bias towards action. Blair took his ESL students to camping for the Canada Day long weekend. So much fun and a big success. That's great. Ruth selling vintage costume jewelry, which led to becoming an antiques and collectibles dealer. See, when you start doing something, you never know what the end result will be. I think people often assume that you're always going to have this vision of this step is going to lead to this step and such, but it's often by taking those steps that your vision expands and you eventually end up with something different. Teresa, lots of people on Facebook today. Good to see you guys. I've been a house sitter and pet sitter since I was young. I still do it today. Okay, I need to pick up a winner here pretty soon. Stephanie Stockwell, first side gig moneymaker was babysitting, cleaning a coworker's apartment. All right. Oh, hey, Sean, what's up, man? Good to see you. Playing one-on-one basketball for a Pokemon card. Does that count? Sure. Why not? Okay. Lots of other good answers there. Let's see. Oh, here's Anthony. First time for me. Hello from the UK. I think that's UK. Very small flag on my screen. Okay, let's see. Who should be our winner? Let's see here. Oh, here's Christine. When I was 10, I set up a red wagon by the sidewalk to sell a collection of pretty rocks. A friend joined me selling a pack of gum. My biz partner sold the gum at least. Hey, you got to start small. It's all right. Get that experience. Okay, let's see here. This is pretty cool. Jennifer, have we picked you as the winner before? I don't think so, but I tend to forget now since I've been doing this a lot. So I like this answer. I started a business called Sail Trim with the goal to make rum-drinking sailboat racers fit and trim to help them be more athletic and healthy. That's so cool. Sail Trim, I love it. Jennifer, I'm going to choose you as our winner today, hopefully for the first time. Send a note to Jed, quick little note, email jed@sidehustleschool.com, Jedd @sidehustleschool.com. Tell him you won, and he will sort that out for you. Thank you, and thanks to everybody else for your awesome answers as well. I might get a chance to go back to some of them later, but of course, want to keep it going. What was my first money-making project? I was trying to think what the very first one was, because if you followed me for a while, you probably heard me tell stories of like how I got into this whole world when I was 20 of selling on online auctions. So I've told that story a fair amount. But before then, I was like, what did I do before then? It's like, well, I remember when I was a kid, I wanted to be an inventor. And I never really invented anything, but I think I wrote a song once, when I was 8. And I talked to my mom about it. And, I was like, would somebody buy this song? And she was like, I think she was just trying to like pacify me. She said, well, maybe, somebody, would pay $25 for that song or something. And then I was convinced that I could get $25 for it. I never did, actually. So that didn't work out very well. And then, what did I do later? Oh, when I was a college student, my first year, I tried to do day trading, and that did not go so well. But fortunately, I stopped before too long. But I remember this is like more than 20 years ago now. I was in the computer lab, of my college, and I was like taking over multiple computers, like with like using all the screens and such, and like printing out all kinds of stuff. So that wasn't great. Fortunately, I learned and did some other stuff afterwards. So here's something that I wanted to share. I'm going to show you some websites here in a second too. When I talked at the beginning of the conversation here, about all the crazy stuff happening this week, right? And it's like this week, last week, the week before, what's going to happen next? Can't imagine. I was thinking about this quote. I'm going to write a post about it. I haven't done so yet. But this quote that I heard the other day: success for me is doing what is available for me to do. Success for me is doing what is available for me to do. And it kind of reminded me of, something I've been sharing like throughout the pandemic, which is that there are so many things outside of our control. And there's a lot of stuff that you don't control, I don't control. In fact, the majority of stuff, right? 98% of things probably we have no control or influence over. But we have this little window, right? We have this little window, whatever percentage it is. And that is what's in our influence. And it's very easy to get discouraged or depressed, we're going to continue to be in lockdown, or maybe like we made some progress. And now like, because some people can't do really simple things, we're actually kind of back where we were, or we're even worse before, than we were before. Or, very easy to be discouraged about lots of other news, that you might see. And so I think this is key. It's like, what is available for you to do? And the same is true with like starting your side hustle, or like trying to create financial security so you're not dependent on other people. What is available for you to do? You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to have that grand strategy. As I said, you don't always know what the grand strategy is. But there's something that is available for you to do right now. Like, I really believe that. There's like, you can finish this stream and go off the rest of your day, and there's something that you can do for yourself and for others. Do that, and don't worry about, all the other stuff because you can't control it. So it's easier said than done, I know, but this is something that I'm trying to remind myself of, and I like the way this was phrased that I hadn't actually heard before. All right, let's take a look at a couple of websites. Let's see if this works. Change a little scene here. I want to show you, I'm in the wrong little screen here. There we go. Okay, there's a couple things I can see on my screen that you can't. So I have to just navigate around. So I want to show you a couple of sites that are coming up on Side Hustle School case studies that we have coming up that I liked. Make sure my microphone is working. It is. Good. Awesome. Cool. So this is Mantra Medallions, which you can see at mantramedallions.com. And this is a guy who is creating this. It's a physical product. It's like a medallion that you carry around with you. And he was inspired by a friend of mine, actually, Ryan Holiday, who has this website, Daily Stoic, and he sells various coins like this and other products. I actually carried around one of Ryan's coins for a long time that said Memento Mori on it, which is Latin for, remember you will die, basically, like someday you will die, which, can sound, wow, that's, pretty heavy, but it was actually kind of inspiring because like you're carrying this around and you're like, someday I will die. So therefore, what am I going to do to live, today, for as long as I can, live. So anyway, this guy liked these coins and had the idea to make his own, but focusing on yoga teachers like to use during their class. And so you can see the different ones here. And he's not making a ton of money with these yet, but it is, more than $500 a month, which is always our baseline, to be featured on Side Hustle School. So I thought this was cool. He's hoping to grow it in the future. So that's Mantra Medallions. And the second one I wanted to show you is Lead 'em Up. Make sure that's right. Yes, leademup.com. So this is a guy who was a high school athlete, went on to just work in a corporation doing like sales professional, VP of sales, I think. And his former high school coach asked him to come back and give like a motivational talk. And, at first he was like, what am I going to say, to high school athletes? So he spent a lot of time preparing and like looking up, activities and creating like exercises and such. And it went really well. The team actually did better that year than they ever had before. And so he thought maybe other coaches, would be interested in this. So basically leademup.com, it's a set of resources. It's a membership site for high school coaches of, all different sports. And he's hoping to expand to collegiate, level as well. But in the past 5 years, you can see this site here. Again, it's leademup.com. In the past 5 years, he's grown this to $100,000, like a six-figure annual profit business. So you have different pricing for individuals and for groups, et cetera, sponsorship options, and so on. So I like that story because, well, I like it for a lot of reasons. But one, it's $100,000 a year side business. He still has his job because he likes his job. I always think that's pretty fun when somebody's like, I still like what I'm doing, but I built this, as well. And then also it was 5 years, just to be clear, like to build to that level. So it's not like, 2 months in, he gets to that point. He just keeps working and keeps refining and improving. And because it's a membership site, he has recurring revenue. So it's very unlikely that that's going to go down. Or if it ever went down, it would happen over a long period of time. It's not going to disappear overnight because people are paying monthly or annually for it. And as long as he does a good job, people will continue to be subscribed and, the word will spread, et cetera. He can grow it. So pretty cool. The detailed stories of those will come up, I believe, in a few weeks on Side Hustle School. Let me just take a quick peek at the comments to see if you guys, you can always post any comments or questions. Oh yeah, Vin, you had another medallion from Ryan. The obstacle is the way. That's right. I think that was his original one, and he started making some others. Christine Faith says, I'm 17. I'm bored, so I'm building my skills. Hey, good for you. That's awesome, because a lot of people much older than 17 are not really thinking about how to improve themselves, how to grow their skills, how they can do the kind of stuff that we're talking about here. So you are in the right place. That is awesome. Oh, this is a pretty cool comment. This is going to be really big on the screen. I don't know if you can see all of this, but it's just a good comment. So I wanted to highlight from Adrian. Set up a rival lemonade stand directly across the street from the rich kid stand. That's great. I carried stuff I made, popcorn, Kool-Aid. I'm proud to say I sold out of all my inventory. I was 9. That's awesome. That's so fun. Way to go. Way to go. Okay. Just keeping an eye on the clock here. So I think I have an audio question. I meant to get to this last week, but we just ran out of time. So let me see if we can do that now. Yes, we did the 2 websites. I talked about day trading. Don't do that. Sometimes I get submissions. I get submissions for the podcast of for all kinds of stuff, which is cool. That's my intention. But once in a while, I hear from somebody who has a day trading course or something, and I'm like, I am not going to feature that. Basically, I want to help people make money, not lose money. There should be another podcast for that, but that's not mine. Okay. Audio question. Let's see here. All right. This, I believe, is from Paolo, but we will find out for sure in just one moment.
Hi, Chris. My name is Paulo, and I'm an international student from Angola, and I currently live in Tacoma, Washington, and I'm currently in business graduate school. I really enjoy your podcast, especially just hearing the stories that you share through it. And since about 2017, I've actually been running my own graphic design business as a freelancer. I've worked mostly with mom and pop shops as well as startups, and I've really come alongside with them to help them launch their businesses through branding, marketing strategy, as well as website design and other graphic design elements. Usually how I find a lot of my clients is through word of mouth, as well as online freelancing websites. However, I'm at a point where I'd like to take my side hustle and take it to the next level by finding higher paying projects with maybe small to large business clients. So my question for you is, how do you think I'd be able to do that and find higher paying clients to grow my business? Thanks for your time. Appreciate you, Chris. Bye.
Awesome. Cool. So hopefully you heard that question. I was trying to think if I have I think I had a little slide somewhere. I've lost it now. I have so many slides here to tell you how to leave a question, but I think I'll just tell you, it's if you go to sidehustleschool.com/questions, easy enough. You can submit a question there. All throughout 2020, we have been featuring them on the podcast. And it's been fun to just hear what people are up to and kind of delve into their challenges and ideas and such. So for Paulo, and this is a very common question or a common theme, especially among designers, because there are so many designers, but also lots of industries. For the field of design, for example, you can pay, to have a website done, it's possible to pay $20 for someone to design your website by going to a site like Fiverr. It's also possible to pay $20,000, and going to a high-end studio that's building out pretty detailed e-commerce site with a lot of back end and all kinds of features and such. So if you can have a website for $20, or for $20,000, what does this suggest? It suggests that there are a lot of different markets. A lot of people need websites, but they're in a very, very broad range of backgrounds and budgets and goals and all that kind of stuff. I mean, from corporate clients, who are usually paying the $20,000 or more often sometimes, down to somebody who's looking for a very affordable solution. So what you need to do if you're in that situation, I'm a designer, I'm trying different stuff out, I've got some low paying clients, I want some high paying clients. The people who are paying the low rate, you're not going to convert them to the high rate. Basically what you need to do is start positioning yourself as the provider of a higher end kind of service. And the way that works, the way that you do that is almost always some form of specialization. So it's some form of I am making websites for, this particular audience, this particular customer. It's not for everyone. It's not general purpose, one size fits all. These are the people I'm looking to serve. Okay. And there's more to it, right? I'm just kind of giving you an overview, but I mean, that's where the answer almost always lies. And so you want to stop thinking about, the low cost, clients and start thinking about what can I do to focus more on high-end work. Serve fewer people, but, do a better job, more detailed work, higher level of work, and hopefully get paid more, as well. Okay, so last week we talked a bit about learning, and I want to focus the rest of the conversation on this. And we talked about learning. I asked everybody, like, what have you been learning recently? Because, in 2020, with all the other weirdness that's been happening, a lot of people have had time to learn new stuff. And, whether it's like all the sourdough bread, stuff that you see in Instagram, your Instagram feed, or something completely different. I forget some of the answers. Like, I'm just drawing a blank now because last week we had this conversation, but a lot of you named all kinds of different stuff that you were learning, which I thought was really fascinating. So you've been learning all these things, and, a lot of the focus that I have here is about like how to take your idea into a money-making project, which not every idea needs to be, just to be clear. If you have started a hobby during COVID-19 and you just want it to be your hobby, that's great. Okay. But if you're trying to apply this entrepreneurial thinking, and here I'm talking about something that you are new to. So it's something that you are a novice at, or maybe you're moving up the ranks, but you started, pretty low, not something you are an expert in. So normally I'm asking people, okay, what are you an expert in? And people say, I'm not an expert at anything. So then we're like, okay, let's talk it out. I bet you are. Let's kind of do a little interview, and I bet we can find something. But if we're talking about something that you are totally new in, and I think this also presents an opportunity, if it is something that you plan to continue and maybe one day want to do as a money-making project, I think what would be helpful is to keep kind of a beginner's journal. And just keep a little journal of all the things that you're learning, as well as all the questions you have, and anything that you are confused about, or you don't understand. And often what happens is, with any particular topic, you start learning, however you're learning. Some of it's by doing. Maybe you're watching a course. Maybe you're watching some YouTube videos. Maybe, you're reading books, whatever the method is. You're going to like unlock pieces of the puzzle as you go along. And so, you're going to read one chapter or watch one video, and you're going to like, oh, now I know how to do that thing. But there's so many other things that you have to do, whatever it is that you're trying to learn, that usually the best way to learn is like through a combination of sources. And what you may discover is you get stuck at a particular point, and it takes some work to find the answer. This is what I'm coming to here. Now you're going to find the answer, eventually, but it's not as obvious as you would like it to be. Like, it's something that you're like, I should have actually learned that earlier on, but all these other introductory videos that I watched didn't actually say anything about this. Or, the software manual, talked about this, but not until page, 270, or it was buried somewhere. Maybe it was in the beginning, but I just missed it because it was so, kind of hidden. So this is the kind of thing that, like, if you pay attention to the struggles that you notice as a beginner or novice, experts might miss that when they're preparing their curriculum, like when they're, developing their course, their series, whatever it is they're teaching. And so then if your goal is like, okay, one day I want to share this knowledge, remember everything that you struggled with, as a beginner. And often, like I said, the gap is so wide between, when someone's an expert, when they're a beginner, like they spend years and years like learning something. So they tend to forget what it was like to be a beginner. So the more you can keep that beginner's journal and note, what you're struggling with, what you're challenging, what is challenging to you, then I think the more potential you have to create something that's meaningful and impactful. And you might not even have to become a full-on expert before you can do that, right? Because if you're also trying to teach, beginners, then you basically just need to be intermediate. You need to be one step ahead. It's like the teacher who is reading a couple chapters ahead of the textbook, before going into class. Like, maybe they also still haven't mastered everything, but they know what they need to communicate to people who are, on that learning track. Okay, that's what I wanted to share about that. I have a daily challenge for you, which is kind of a weekly challenge, but I have a challenge for you. Let me just take a quick peek at our comments here. Wow, lots of people on Facebook. I think I mentioned that earlier. Chuck says, quarantine time has been a great motivation to focus on my side hustles. Jennifer, hey, what's up? From Chicago, an artist who makes abstract map prints, Carlin Cartography. I'm so inspiring. Well, you're inspiring too. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. I'm glad you were out there. Let's see. Let me know in our final moments here what you have been learning, if there's a way that you're thinking about applying it. Just scrolling back just one moment. I want to make sure oh, here's Christine again. I saw your earlier comment. I'm probably the only teenager who's watching this. We probably have some others, but I would say, as I said, you're ahead of the curve. So keep watching and come back. I'm doing this every week, every Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. And of course, it's rebroadcast, or it's like saved in the archive on YouTube if you miss it live. I do lots of other stuff too. You can check out my main website, chrisgillibo.com or sidehustleschool.com. I try to do most of my work for free or for low cost, through the books and such. And I hope that these ideas, can be helpful in some way. Oh, Linda said it's being offered an early retirement package for the end of year. Time to start thinking about seriously focusing on getting my side hustle started. Good. We will be cheering you on. Let us know. Chuck mentioned I always struggle with the details of taxes and fees and startup expenses. Yeah, I think we had a whole episode about that a while back. And then also in not the Money Tree book, but a previous book I wrote, Side Hustle, I had a lot of information about that stuff, which is kind of boring. It's like non-exciting, non-sexy and boring, but then it trips people up. So if you can figure it out, then you can just move on and not think about it, because your goal is to not be thinking about that kind of stuff when you're trying to actually run your business. All right. Norman said, looking to inspire my high school students in my classes this year. Awesome. Way to go. Very cool. Okay. So daily challenge or weekly challenge, as you see fit. So, throughout this series, I've tried to explore not just like money-making stuff, but also just life improvement. What are small things that you can do to be a little better, which is ultimately what we want. I use that. What was the definition of success? Earlier, I said success for me is doing what is available for me to do. So I really like that. The one that I've always thought of before is, success is continuously improving, because you're never going to arrive, but the joy and the meaning, the purpose is, to continue to improve, to improve yourself, to improve the lives of others, such as you have influence over, et cetera. So let's see, daily challenge. This challenge today is to put a brick in your mailbox. Okay, so what do I mean by that? If you have a physical mailbox, you can go and put a brick in it, but that's not quite what I mean. When I say put a brick in your mailbox, I mean, if you are being distracted by your social feeds or by your email, there's a time and a place for all those things, of course. I like getting emails from people. I like to respond and such. But from time to time, I find that I am always behind and stressed about it. And it ends up taking my focus away from the creative work that I want to do, which ultimately is going to be more beneficial to more people, et cetera, than just always getting stuck in my email. So from time to time, I have just taken a little break, from email or whatever the thing is. And I've had a little message, basically autoresponder that says hey, I'm just not around right now. I'm working on a book, or I'm preparing for a tour, which I'm not doing now, sadly, but whatever it is. And I really I can't do a lot, right now with email. Now, I know obviously you have your work email, et cetera, but for whatever it is, apply it to however it works for you. Well, I also do email bankruptcy too. At the beginning of every year in January, I do new year, new inbox. Whatever I did not respond to the previous year, it's been sitting there for weeks and months, just causing me anxiety. I'm just going to have to start over, basically. So email bankruptcy, putting a brick in your mailbox, autoresponder, using social media during limited times, taking it off your phone. You always have to figure out what works for you. I never want to tell people you must do this, right? Because who's to say? But if you're struggling with being creative and working on your project, maybe consider putting a brick in your mailbox, presumably a metaphorical one. But if you actually put a physical brick in your mailbox, let me know. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in today. It's a joy to do these streams, these videos. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for everybody who watches later. As I said, hit the thumbs up button. That would be very cool. Subscribe, come back, and a good time will be had by all. Remember, it's a crazy time. to go back to where we started, I hope everybody is safe. I'll be thinking of you this week, especially those impacted by the hurricane. But I realize around the world, there's lots of other stuff going on too. So try to take care of yourself. Try to take care of somebody else as much as you can, and do something. Just find a way to do something. Do what is available to you. Success is, what was the whole quote? It's like showing up and doing what is available to you. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I hope you do that as well. And I hope to see you again next time. Thanks, everybody.